Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and I hope all of you had a great Memorial Day weekend. We have lots to talk about on today's show. First and foremost, Steelers football is back, sort of. First day of OTAs did go down today. We're going to be talking about what all went on there. Again, it is OTAs, off-season team activities. It was voluntary. You had some absentees there, and it's just football in shorts. But still, it gives us something to talk about our favorite football team. Also going to be talking about what the local baseball team has been up to. They're playing better, set aside last night's game. We'll talk about that here later on. But they have been playing better under Don Kelly, in my opinion. So that is at least salvaging a little bit of what has already been a lost season. Going to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins and their coaching search, which should be coming to an end here within, you'd think, maybe the next week or so. Kyle Dubas, Penguins general manager, said that they would do a long, thorough process and wait till June to make a hire. Well, June is right around the corner, and there's a favorite in the running for the Penguins head coaching gig. And then at the ending of the show, we will get into some loose stories that can't be, dived into too much. But first things first, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section, and I could pop those up like this at a moment's notice. So any thoughts, opinions, questions that you may have, I'd be happy to answer them throughout the broadcast here this evening. And like and share this video as well. Spread the news and the whereabouts of this live stream so that we can keep growing this channel day by day. But first things first, we are going to get into the Steelers OTAs and what they have been up to. First day of OTAs was today on the south side, and we're sort of going to go almost position by position here, break down what all we saw and what we heard, from beat writers and reporters there in the building. Starting with quarterback, everybody's favorite position. No Aaron Rodgers yet, so he has not signed and he has not joined the teams for OTAs. With that, Mason Rudolph, he was QB1. He was slinging it everywhere. You could tell, these guys, it's their first team gathering of the offseason, so they weren't going to be picture perfect with everything that they do. Mason Rudolph was certainly an example of that, but Rudolph, he was quarterback one taking first team reps. And for most of the practice, in my opinion, except for one video, which I'm looking at right now, I want to say Skylar Thompson, who was really one of the first additions of the offseason. Steelers brought him in on a futures contract. I think he was taking the second team reps for the most part, and Will Howard as the third team quarterback to start out, which, hey, it's all right. First day of practice, you'd expect the rookies to be at the bottom of the totem pole and then need to work their way up. Rudolph, he spoke with reporters after practice. Sick mustache, too. He got rid of the goatee, so the goatee, the, sort of chin part of that's all gone. But Rudolph rocking the mustache, said it's great to be back in Pittsburgh. But you could tell in what he was saying that he knows somebody is coming, whether it be Aaron Rodgers or some other form of quarterback. He knows that something is in the works and that maybe his times as QB1 are numbered, or that he is at least in for a fight for that top spot. So he really just got that out there, said that he's used to it. He's used to competing and that nothing has ever come easy in his career. But it's great to hear that demeanor from Mason Rudolph. I mean, regardless of whether Aaron Rodgers comes or not, I think at some point during this upcoming season, you'd like to see Mason Rudolph and see if he's, can continue what we saw for the majority of that, playoff run to the playoffs that he showed 2 years ago. See if he can, be one of those late blooming quarterbacks in this league that turned out to have decent careers. One current example in the league right now is Geno Smith. Trying to think of other ones. Sam Darnold, I guess you can view as that. He just got a hefty payday with the Seattle Seahawks, who the Steelers will play and see early in the season. So excited to see how things play out over the coming weeks if we get an Aaron Rodgers signing or something else. But Mason Rudolph, he's showed up to OTAs and he looks ready to fight for his spot. Moving on to the running back room, all eyes and a lot of videos I saw were on number 20 in that backfield, the new sheriff in town, as you would say, Caleb Johnson, the third-round pick out of Iowa for the Steelers. He looks monstrous out there. I mean, you can put him next to the other running backs in the room and you think, yeah, he's a big guy, but just the physique on this guy and how he looked in his first day of OTAs, I was quite impressed. Jaylen Warren, he was there as well. It'll be interesting to see how reps will play out throughout the preseason between those two guys and how it plays out throughout the year. I have no doubt, or, I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Johnson, say midway through the year, is taking the bulk of the snaps from Jaylen Warren. But yeah, just update on that running back room. Caleb Johnson, he looks already like he has a good shot of paying off dividends and being a hell of an investment for a mid to late third round pick when the Steelers selected him. Onto the wide receiver room, we have to talk about our first absentee of day one of OTAs. There were 3 absentees. The first one, newest wide receiver. Well, not newest wide receiver, but the newest wide receiver that will make significant contributions this upcoming season. That is DK Metcalf, the biggest addition of the offseason. He was absent for the first day of OTAs, which, hey, veteran guys, they will, here and there take a couple of days off of OTAs or skip over them entirely. Once again, they are involuntary workouts and team activities, so not really worried about it. Going to talk about what his teammates think of that here in a moment. But with Metcalf's absence, Calvin Austin III entering into the final year of his rookie deal, he took first. He was, the lead man in all of the route running drills and all that today. We're going to be watching him with a close eye this year, see if he can earn a second contract with the team. I think he is a high-end wide receiver 3, not necessarily a wide receiver 2. I think he'll max out at a, top-tier wide receiver 3. So we'll have to see if the Steelers bring in another wide receiver in place of him, or if Calvin Austin can make the most of this opportunity as a big focal point in this offense. Austin, he spoke on Metcalf in his absence. He said, quote, "He came in ready to work, showed up to the early lift, asking what time this is or that is, engaged in meetings. Anytime he catches the ball, he finishes 15, 20 yards. It's easy to see why he's had success he's had in the league," unquote. So Calvin Austin, he's not worried about DK Metcalf missing. And he also spoke on, this being his final year of his rookie contract. He was approached with the subject of if there's any negotiations about an extension coming from the Steelers. Austin said, "I haven't even thought about that." So looks like the Steelers, they're trying to fry their bigger fish right now, say like getting Aaron Rodgers on the team if that's, gonna happen, and extending TJ Watt. But as of right now, no extension for Calvin Austin. This is going to be a big, highly motivational year for him, looking to chase that bag. Also speaking on Metcalf, tight end Pat Freiermuth, he was there today. He said that Metcalf has been around frequently during the early offseason phases, and that he's not worried about it either. So nothing to, really get too invested in there, seeing Metcalf not there, or really, any of the three absentees. I'll mention the two others here in a minute. But Muth also was talking about the wide receiver room beyond Metcalf and the depth there that has now come into question with George Pickens now gone. Freiermuth said, quote, "I'm not really thinking about it too much. If it's more of a role for me, then great. I'm fully capable of picking up that role. But if we add another guy, great. I'm excited about the guys we have right now." I like that, hearing that from Freiermuth. My only, I guess, skepticism of that quote is that I'm capable of picking up that role. He is capable of picking up that role, but if he is picking up that role, that's another question. We saw this offense in a similar position they were a year ago. Instead of George Pickens, it's DK Metcalf this year as wide receiver one and nothing else behind him. You would think that would bring our warrant, Muth getting more touches and more catches, but I'm not entirely sure you saw that as much as you would like to last year. So hopefully the Steelers do bring in a second wide receiver. I think that would then benefit Muth more than Muth saying, "Hey, I want to be the, second target in the passing game in this offense." So that's that from Freiermuth. Back to the wide receivers. Roman Wilson, third round pick from last year. He was out there. He looked healthy. He was fast. He was flying through these routes. Hopefully he can stay healthy and is now fully experienced, at least in a practice setting in this offense, and that he can get on the field this preseason and regular season and be a big part of what Arthur Smith is trying to do on offense. He talked about what the difference is for him between now and a year ago. Wilson said, "I've been taking care of my body at an elite level. I'm just locked in. I feel like myself." Great to hear there from Roman Wilson. And, he's going to need to stay on the field and stay healthy. We all know that he is of the smaller build of wide receivers. I think he's slightly taller than Calvin Austin, but not by much. But he has the mentality of a player 6 inches taller than him. He is very physical for his stature, and you just hope that he can elevate into, if there's not a wide receiver too. I don't know if Wilson will have this, potential, but maybe he could be a low end wide receiver too. And, maybe make you reconsider drafting a wide receiver high up in the draft in the next 2 years. So, Roman Wilson looking healthy, flying through routes. It'll be a big year for him, and I'm sure lots of people will have their eyes on him for this upcoming preseason. Another player that fans will have their eyes on, that will be the tackle position, more specifically left tackle Broderick Jones. he was out there. He looked quick. He looked healthy. I think he was battling some stuff last year, but moving over from right tackle, he's now at his natural position at left tackle where he was drafted, what he was drafted to play. And after 2 years of playing right tackle, which I'm still confused as to why the Steelers insisted keeping Dan Moore Jr. at left tackle when you knew that you weren't going to re-sign him this offseason and that you were going to get outbid if you did attempt to re-sign him. Hopefully, Broad can pick up, left tackle quickly. Once again, 3 years just about in between being a full-time left tackle. Hopefully he didn't get too used to right tackle in that it'll be like riding a bike for him back on the left side of the line. And also, I think Isaac Seumalo was there today. It'll be another interesting note to see how long it takes for him to get chemistry with that veteran in Seumalo. Going to talk about the other tackle position as well. Right tackle Troy Fautanu, after a season-ending knee injury last year, he was at right tackle today, taking first-team reps. Great to see him there. And I believe he spoke with the media after today's activities, and he said that it's pretty much solidified. Broad is going to be the left tackle. He's going to be at right tackle. There will be no switching because Fautanu, he was also a left tackle at Washington when he came out of the draft last year. Of course, in Washington at the time, he wasn't the blind side blocker. He was the front side blocker for the lefty throw and Michael Penix. But, what we'll have to see how good he looks coming off of that long injury and how he will adjust to right tackle because, again, he's still learning how to switch over there as well. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, going to skip over defensive line. I think everybody on the D-line showed up today. Cam Hayward talked about Derek Harmon some more and, how he's got the, potential skill set and the body to be a great player in this league. Instead, we're going to talk about outside linebackers. This is where we meet our second absentee of the day, and this really shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone or freak anybody out. TJ Watt not showing up to OTAs, day one of OTAs today. Of course, last year of his contract, he wants a new deal. He's seeking an extension with the Steelers and most likely a pretty significant pay raise. People, they'll freak out at this saying, oh no, TJ's not there, or why isn't he there? He should show up. Like we saw this with him in 2021 when he got extended then. He didn't show up to OTAs with the last time he got a contract extension. And when he did show up to whether it was OTAs, mini camp, training camp at Latrobe, he was off to the side doing his own thing. We're most likely in store for another similar scenario to that where TJ will be doing his own thing when he is there, and he might, take this voluntary stuff off, which I'm not worried about. And, TJ, I think an extension is going to get done. Steelers want to keep him in-house, and also I think they're on that TJ has all the leverage right now. The Steelers want to get him done, but TJ, he might wait till, say, Micah Parsons gets an extension done so Watt can, judge where he fits in the market and see if he can make more than everyone else who's gotten a deal done to this point. But if TJ, if he does what he did, 4 years ago and just doesn't show up for the voluntary stuff, and then when he shows up for the mandatory stuff, he's off doing his own thing, that's fine. You get a deal done. He'll show up there healthy, ready to go. He's going to keep himself in shape. He's not just going to, sit out and go sitting on his couch. He'll be ready. So TJ not being there today, last time, don't fret over it. In Watt's place today, like how Calvin Austin was being the first out of drills for the wide receivers, Alex Highsmith, he was leading the linebackers in their drills. Really, all we saw was him. Also, Nick Herbig as the primary left outside linebacker. He filled in for TJ's spot today, but of course we know Herbig. I think Jack Sawyer, you might see this from him as well. We know Herbig, he can play either side. So, yeah, TJ Highsmith and Herbig taking over for TJ Watt today. Watt not showing up, no sweat whatsoever. Moving on to the middle linebackers, two stories from them. First off, Patrick Queen, big offseason acquisition last year. You knew somebody was going to say something. Mason Rudolph, he kind of was referring to Aaron Rodgers and saying that, he's ready for whatever happens. But we actually heard Aaron Rodgers' name from the mouth of a Steelers player. That was Patrick Queen. He said, quote, "I'm happy with the quarterbacks we have, but the little fan in me, I grew up a fan of Aaron Rodgers." So the players, they hear about Aaron Rodgers rumors and how he's, at least in some way guaranteed to come to the Steelers. But we heard it there from Patrick Queen that he wants to see Aaron Rodgers on the team. So we'll see if Queen gets his wish and if he can live out, I'm sure a childhood dream of playing alongside one of his favorites. Also, the second middle linebacker that I wanted to talk about. Great seeing Cole Holcomb out there today. He was fully healthy. Still has, I think, a compression sleeve on his left leg where he had that knee injury, but he looks jacked. He looks healthy, and it's going to be a hell of a crowded inside linebacker room to see who gets on the field this year, because you've got Holcomb, Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison you brought in as an offseason acquisition who can split times between defense and special teams. And then you got a 7th round pick who's mostly going to be a special teamer, but hey, you never know in Carson Bruner. So that's it for there. Let me take a break here and go to the comments section real quick. Flacco's here. Welcome, Flacco. Great to see you. TJ isn't missing anything. I'd rather him not get hurt. Exactly what I'm saying. Watt, I believe it was when he got his deal done. Didn't he sign his extension like within a week of the season opening game? He was doing his own thing off to the side for the entire offseason training process, OTAs, mini camp, training camp. And then he goes out there. I believe the Steelers started in Buffalo that year. It was Ben's final year. TJ goes out there. He terrorizes Josh Allen, had like 2 sacks. One of them was a strip sack recovered by the defense. So TJ, he's not missing anything. Like I said, people who are, say are freaking out about it, they don't need to. It's really unnecessary. And just if you pay attention to the Steelers in depth like I do, that isn't going to be any worry whatsoever. I think a deal is still going to get done there, Flacco. So Watt going to sit out more. That's better for me. Not going to get hurt, which, he has gotten more and more injury prone, unfortunately. So that's cool with me. Wrapping up here, talking about the OTAs here today. The last absentee from day one of OTAs, another offseason acquisition. And I guess you can argue the second biggest free agent signing that the Steelers made this offseason, Darius Slay. I understand Metcalf not showing up. He's been, in the building for everything. Watt contract reasons, he's not showing up. Slay, I also do. And I probably understand Slay the most. He's, from what I've seen or what I haven't seen, he hasn't, been missing any of the stuff leading up to OTAs. He's been in the building learning the defense and all that. And also Slay, 34-year-old corner, doesn't look to be a 34-year-old corner, but still, though, he is coming off a Super Bowl run with the Eagles, so he played 3-4 extra games than 90% of the league. That's good for me that he's sitting out. I'd rather him, get the extra rest and then come ready for mandatory mini camp than sprain something, pull something here in OTAs. And also kind of like the Steelers wide receiver situation, you got Joey Porter Jr., who took a step back last year, but Slay, he's sort of like what DK Metcalf was, brought in to, steady the room, but you lose him or Joey, then you're left with one corner and then a question mark on the other side of the field. So Joey, he'll be at OTAs, he'll stay healthy, I'm sure, but Slay, having played all the way into the Super Bowl, cool with him taking OTAs off. So that is it for day one of OTAs. OTAs this year, actually 2 weeks, so a shorter time than years past where it was 3 weeks. It's now 2 weeks, and I'm sure we're gonna hear. I'll keep you up to date here throughout the weekdays, and we'll talk about what all goes down then. Back to the comments real quick. Flacco, think the Steelers are waiting to pay TJ, but to see where the holes are, saving money to see what they have left after this next month. Yeah, also, I don't think TJ's ready to get a deal done either. I said this earlier when I said this a couple of minutes ago. I think if you're TJ, more specifically, if you're TJ's agent, you're probably waiting until Micah Parsons gets done, or even Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals. The Steelers, I believe it was J.J. Watt said this last year on the Pat McAfee show that, hey, if the Steelers were going to get a deal done with my brother, they should have done it at a sort of a hometown discount last year. But Steelers didn't do that. And now, trying to think here, Max Crosby got a deal done. Myles Garrett got paid. You had all the free agents get done. Josh Sweat and whatnot. I'm sure there's one or two other, extensions for outside linebackers that have gotten done. But, yeah, I think TJ, he and his agent, I think TJ might know that this is going to be his last big contract. And with this being his, last big payday, he might be looking to get paid the most that he's ever gotten in his career, which, hey, respect it. But we'll have to see. There's a lot of moving gears. TJ looking for probably the most he's ever gotten in his career. The Steelers being maybe a little bit skeptical about how he performed last year. I'm sure he was dinged up, but still, though, I think he went 2 games where he didn't record a single statistic, not one tackle, nothing. So also the Steelers, you got Nick Herbig, who would be a number 1 or 2 outside linebacker on half the teams in the league, and they just got a 4th round hell of a pick, in my opinion, for that value in Jack Sawyer, who, he's got some potential to him. So we'll see how things play out. Let me find my next thing here. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to hit up the Twitter real quick, see if we got any other news stories going on that have broken since I've gone live. Seeing some pictures here. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Elliott, 2 starting safeties. They were also at OTAs today. They did not miss anything. There's a picture of Freiermuth working. There's Holcomb as well. The picture I saw of him. So starting lineup is also out for tonight's game for the Pirates. I will talk about that when I break down the Pirates news here in a matter of moments. So going to switch things up here. Let's go to the next segment. I was going to talk about the Bucs, but I will hold off on that. Here, actually, I don't have the thing. Let me create this banner. I thought I had this. Let me type this in real quick. My apologies. There we go. Oh, wrong thing. There we go. So let's talk about this. Speaking of the quarterbacks, nothing on Aaron Rodgers. Of course, we've talked about, could Rodgers potentially sign before OTAs? There was some caller to 93.7 The Fan last week who said he saw Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, but I think everybody was very skeptical of that. But now you gotta wonder, now that the team is back together, at least in a somewhat full capacity, if the Steelers, if their internal clock has sped up a bit on Aaron Rodgers, and if they could be looking elsewhere. And if it's not going to be Rodgers, the next, I don't want to say best option or logical option, but the next option, plural, would be Kirk Cousins. And it was reported today that Cousins was not in attendance for the Falcons' first day of voluntary OTAs. The head coach down there, Raheem Morris, said June 1st is coming fast. It's right around the corner. And that's when the Falcons could trade him after that date, and they could defer a good bit of that dead money to next year. But interested to hear what you guys' thoughts are on Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's not the Kirk Cousins that, would take the Vikings to the playoffs. And I mean, when the Vikings did get to playoffs, he would turn into a pumpkin, which kind of ironically makes him a good fit for the Steelers. You do well in the regular seasons, you win, 9, 10, maybe 11 games, and then you fall apart in the first round. So, I mean, if you want to go with the stereotype that the Steelers have put out there in recent years, Kirk Cousins would fit that mold. But last year, we played him in week 1, the Steelers did, in Atlanta. He looked like such a statue, man. I mean, he didn't go under center. He barely did any play action. He was coming off an Achilles tear, and it obviously showed that he was coming off of an Achilles injury, and he was bad. I believe he threw like 4 touchdowns and 9 interceptions and got benched for Michael Penix. So Kirk Cousins, even though he moved to Atlanta to be closer to his family, he completely fell flat on his face, and now he's looking for a new team. Could that be the Steelers if the Rodgers situation falls through? Maybe, but if the Steelers got Cousins, they'd be taking a good bit of a guaranteed $37.5 million contract, and that would, potentially hamper them from extending TJ Watt. Could hamper them from, say, if they want to trade for a wide receiver who's already, getting paid a good bit, like a DJ Moore, that could halt them from doing that. So interested to see what you guys hear. I think it's Cousins wants out. The Falcons aren't willing to do that right now, even though they're paying him a bunch of money. But, interested. What do you guys think? I just picture Cousins saying frick them and frick ATL. That's pretty much what he's saying right now. Like I said, I know he moved down there, or he signed there to be closer to family. But, if you're just going to be stuck behind a young kid and you still think that you got some good football left in the tank, I'd want out too. It is very tough for the Steelers to get a quarterback on their roster right now for some reason. You got Rodgers, who's doing Joe Rogan podcasts and Q&As with super soakers and whatever the hell he's doing right now. He's seemingly, over the hump of whatever issues were keeping him from signing. You don't know what he's going to do now. Maybe he's having some fun before he goes into football, but you never know with him. He's very unpredictable. And your fallback option is a, mid-30s Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles and playing some of the worst football that you've ever seen from a quarterback who's getting paid a lot of money to do so. Beyond that, I mean, I don't even know what other quarterback free agents are out there. You're looking at what? Tyler Huntley, Snoop Huntley, former Baltimore Raven. Let me do this real quick. What current quarterback free agents are there out there? Where's, I guess this. I mean, I'm probably going to say some that, yeah, Tyler Huntley, Jimmy Garoppolo, Carson Wentz, CJ Beathard, Jarrett Stidham, just Brett Rippon, Jeff Driscoll, guys who even I think Skylar Thompson, the Steelers, who will end up being the Steelers' fourth quarterback this year, are better than. So we'll see. Bottom of the barrel, exactly. And, you know, we're going to be talking about this. Hopefully we're talking about something else a calendar year from now, because you could be staring down a bad year, which, hey, I'm cool with. And the Steelers have a high pick next year and a better quarterback class that could potentially, but if I had to guess, not likely quarterback class featuring Arch Manning, Lenoris Sellers, Drew Aller, a couple others, Cade Klubnik. So maybe we're having a different conversation next year, unless Will Howard is the second coming of Tom Brady as a sixth-round pick and national champion, who then went to a team and will take over, which I'm hoping for. If there was ever a guy that you wanted to hand pick to be the guy in terms of personality and work ethic, it'd be Will Howard for me. Okay, gonna move things in here. Gonna try to move through this as quickly as possible here. The other two Pittsburgh professional sports teams. Let's talk about the Pirates real quick. Let me find out what I have on them. Since we last talked, they've played 4 games. They played games 2 through 4 in their home series against the Milwaukee Brewers, and they also played game 1 of their first series of this West Coast road trip against the Arizona Diamondbacks last night. Let's start with the latest game, or the furthest back game, and move our way to the latest game. Game 2 against the Brewers. O'Neal Cruz, it was his night. He hit a home run, put the Bucs up 1-0 in the third inning. Pirates took a 2-0 lead thanks to I believe it was catcher's interference. I forget who was up to bat, but Pirates were up 2-0. Paul Skeens, he was great. 6 innings pitched, gave up 1 run, 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 8. Real Paul Skeens stuff. And in real Pirates fashion, the Bucs blew it. The bullpen, Milwaukee tied it up 2-2 in the top of the 7th. They then took the lead in that same top of the 7th. Then Brian Reynolds, a game-tying RBI, a clutch hit from him in what has been a struggle so far this year. So Reynolds came through. Milwaukee then took the lead, but in the bottom of the 9th inning, O'Neal Cruz, a towering home run to right field, fairly up in the seating of the Clemente wall. His second home run of the game, that tied it. Bottom of the 10th inning, the Bucs gave up a run in the top of the 10th. That made the game 5-4. Bucs got a run across on a single, I believe, to make it 5-5. And then, Pirates winning on a fluke. That's pretty hilarious. A wild pitch. Runner came in to score. Bucs ended up winning game 2, 6-5. Game 3, Spencer Horwitz, he made it 1-0 early. Brought in Brian Reynolds. Mitch Keller, he was good. 6 innings pitched, struck out 7, gave up 7 hits and 1 run, so he limited the damage. It was tied up 1-1 heading into the bottom of the 7th. O'Neal Cruz again, he's been amazing. Ripped a triple. That brought home a run. And that's all it took for the Bucs. Thankfully, 2 runs is all it was needed to win that ball game. The bullpen did make it interesting, but they held on. the fourth and final game of the series. Before the game, Brian Reynolds, he was scratched due to injury. General manager Ben Charrington said, quote, he had tightness in his trunk. So Reynolds, maybe a sore bottom, kept him out of the game. The first time I've heard of that injury. And I've even heard of injuries such as torn testicles for games, but never have heard about a tightness in his trunk. So Reynolds, he did not play game 4 of that series. Brewers, they went up 3-0 in the top of the first inning. There was actually a throwing error by O'Neal Cruz. He just absolutely sailed one to the backstop. It hit off of those bricks back there and caromed all the way up the first base line of the field. So the Brewers, they went up early. Then O'Neal Cruz, bottom of the third inning, Bucs were losing 3-0. Something I have never seen before. O'Neal Cruz, I was at a game last year where I think he hit one of the longest home runs of his career. It landed in a boat in the Allegheny River, and I just went, oh my God, upon seeing that leave his bat, thinking he absolutely crushed that ball. Child's play to what he did on Sunday against the Brewers. He hit a 432-foot home run. I think it reached the river. 122.9 miles an hour. They rounded it up to 123 miles an hour. The hardest hit ball in the StatCast era. So Cruz effortlessly, in my opinion, smoking the hardest hit ball ever recorded, officially. StatCast era, I believe it started in 2014 or 2015. O'Neal Cruz is the record holder for the hardest hit baseball of all time, most likely. Now, again, that is in the StatCast era. You can't put it past, maybe some of the, eras of the MLB when there was steroids in use. Like I'm sure maybe Barry Bonds, Bonilla, those types of guys, they might have hit balls harder, but they didn't. It wasn't recorded back then. So we're going to claim fame to having the player who hit the hardest ball ever recorded. Alexander Canario, which he's been playing better too. He has had a hell of a time ever since Donnie Kelly became manager. Alexander Canario, he's been playing more often, and he's been swinging the bat really well. He's been one of the Bucs' better hitters lately. He made it a 3-2 game. And then, of all people, Tommy Pham singles into left field, brings home Adam Frazier, which Adam Frazier, he had a hell of a series against the Brewers. He might have figured out something with his bat. He came around to score, and then he gave the Bucs the lead. A double down the left field line. The dude dove for it, and he went crashing into the corner there. I'm shocked he got up all right. 2 runs came across to score. Frazier was 10 for 20 on the homestand. Bucs then took a 5-3 lead. That was in the bottom of the 7th. And then the Brewers, they ended up getting those runs back and actually took the lead. A bases loaded clearing double made it 6-5, and that wound up being the final score, 6-5. The Bucs lost, but hey, that series, they looked very competitive. There wasn't, take away the first game of the series, I don't even remember the score, but it was pretty frustrating to watch. But against one of your bitter rivals, one of your, most hated rivals in the Brewers, in that series, you were competitive in 3 of 4 games and you split it. I'll take it. It's not great. It might not even be good, but it's better. They've improved so far under Donnie Kelly, and I just hope, this is what I'm afraid of, I just hope that whatever little successes they are getting right now and how they are slowly but surely coming along, they've at least, for the most part, put down the shovel that they've used to dig themselves into this early season hole. I hope it's not going to be used that, oh, look, we got Donnie Kelly, and the team's playing better, that should warrant Ben Cherington, the general manager, sticking around. No, it should not. Donnie Kelly, he's shown to, be turning into a good manager all because of himself. You do not need to credit his successes to Ben Cherington. And I'll tell you why. Because last night's game, the Bucs, they were horrid. They went down early, 2-0 lead, then turned into 2 home runs that made it 3-0 and 5-0, and that's all she wrote. The only time that the Bucs had a chance, I believe it was the 7th inning. Bases were loaded. You had Brian Reynolds, Spencer Horwitz, and I think Joey Bart coming up, the 3, 4, 5 hitters, bases loaded, nobody out. They did not score a single run in that situation. It was absolutely terrible. The only bright side to last night's game was that earlier yesterday, the Bucs called up for the first time their number 7 overall prospect and their 4th best pitching prospect, Braxton Ashcraft. He came in relief. They said that they're going to start out Ashcraft, even though he's a starting pitcher. They're going to begin him in the bullpen and then maybe work him into a starting role if one becomes available. But Ashcraft, I think he went 3 scoreless innings. He looked good. His stuff looked very sharp. But that was the only bright spot last night. Bucs lose 5-0. They now lead the MLB with 9 shutout losses this year, which counts for a quarter of their losses this season. Yeah, 25% of their losses this season have come via shutout. It is absolutely horrendous, isn't even a strong enough word to describe how putrid the offense has been this entire year. And that right there is more than warranted of having Ben Cherington fired. But who knows? The draft, it's coming closer for the MLB, as is the trade deadline. I believe it's 2 months out. You cannot have Ben Cherington there, but I'm afraid they're going to keep him, and it'd be the right thing to get rid of him, even if you have someone, who is inexperienced taking over the duties of the draft and the trade deadline, because, by sheer luck alone, they'll probably be better than what Ben Cherington has done. Also, another reason why you got to fire Ben Cherington, I have this quote starred here. Paul Skeens, after the Game 2 victory over the Brewers, thrilling walk-off fashion, he actually was approached about the trade, rumors. Well, not trade rumors, but the trade idea that so many moronic, idiotic national baseball talking heads are bringing up, which him getting traded isn't going to happen anytime soon. Skeens, he's heard them, and he's addressed them. Probably my favorite quote I've ever heard from a Pittsburgh Pirate right here. Skeens said, quote, "When I got drafted, I came in with the intention of winning a World Series here. That hasn't changed. I don't think my days here are numbered by any means. It doesn't make any difference with the trade talks. I'm not going anywhere, I don't think. I have to figure out how to continue to improve this place." That right there, I want to run through a brick wall for Paul Skeens after hearing that. When I got drafted here, I came in with the intention of winning a World Series here. His first line, his last line, I have to figure out how to continue to improve this place. That is not even elite, not even franchise. That is a generational mindset from a generational player. And Bob Nutting and, for now, Ben Cherington, under any circumstances, cannot fail, cannot not make the playoffs, cannot not, when they do make the playoffs, make a hell of a run with this guy on their team. It would be a colossal, one of the biggest failures in sports history if the Pirates, after this year, scrap this year because moronic decisions, keeping the general manager, keeping the manager who got fired after 38 games, scrap this year, it's dead and gone, and we're just about to get out of May. So scratch that. Next year, and every year that you have Paul Skeens on your team from here on out, you need to, at bare minimum, make the playoffs. I was going to be accepting this year if they didn't make the playoffs, but they were there. I would have accepted that. But now that this year has become a complete and total wash, they need to make the playoffs next year, and they need to start winning significantly with this guy. He's a legit special player, and he's dedicated. We all know about his time at Air Force and his upbringing and how it is a we not me mindset every single day with this guy. I want to give him whatever he needs to succeed. And the fan base, I say that, the fan base say that. I'm sure the players in that clubhouse say that with having that guy on the team. But it's just a matter of getting the owner in the front office to do the same thing and have the same mindset. He is the Sidney Crosby of baseball, in my opinion. Like how the Penguins, so many, many years ago, they had this absolute angel that was freaking a Mount Rushmore player for hockey. By the grace of God, fall in their laps. They have the same thing, but in baseball form with Paul Skeens here, and they cannot mess this up. Forget the economics of baseball and him, but as fortunately, if things don't change, him being out of here in, at most 4 years. But if they fail with him, I'm just going to say, if they fail with him, you will see a big part of me turn on this Pirate P. Not turn on the P, but turn on the P with this ownership and this regime under their watch. So, yeah, that's it for that on the Pirates for right now. Game 4 against the Brewers was tough. That was a power slug. Yeah, talking about O'Neill Cruz, one of the most amazing hits I've ever seen from an MLB player. And I was there for one of his longest home runs in his career that he hit into the Allegheny. And I swear, watching that hit live last year, it was still ascending when it cleared the wall. So, yeah, just Bucs are in action again tonight. Let me wrap up this back here lineup for tonight's game. Cruz leading off again. He's actually DHing tonight. So Reynolds, he'll be in right. Horwitz batting third, playing first. Joey Bart catching. Looks like it's going to be an off night for Andrew McCutchen. Alexander Canario batting fifth, playing center field. Adam Frazier swinging a better bat lately, batting sixth and playing second base. Seventh, Tommy Pham. Don't understand why he's batting seventh, but okay. Ke'Bryan Hayes, who he's been bad with the bat for a good bit this year. And then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa will round it out, batting ninth, playing at shortstop. Mike Burrows, his second career major league start, is the starting pitcher here tonight. We'll see if he can improve from his last outing. See if things can get better for him. If not, it's got to start getting louder for Bubba Chandler to get called up to the big leagues. Back to the comments here. Freight Train, I got here late, but I have you on 2 times. I kept thinking Rodgers was coming due to them waiting to draft a quarterback. Yeah, welcome, Freight Train. Hopefully you're almost caught up by this time. But appreciate you actually going back to the beginning of the show and doubling up the speed here. I do that a lot when I'm listening to stuff throughout the days, just so I can make sure I can, listen to as much as I can for the stuff I listen to. So I appreciate you, Freight Train. Yeah, thought Rodgers was going to be here as well. Seems like whatever those personal issues, which, hey, he hope everything's going all right, because, one of the things he mentioned was some people close to him dealing with cancer. That's a scary thing and something that you never wish anybody has to go through, whether you are suffering from it, or you're somebody who knows someone who's suffering from it. So hope everything's going all right. But when you're Rogers and you're going on Joe Rogan's podcast and you're, having fun with super soakers at the backstage of concerts and doing fan Q&As and open forums at festivals, you gotta wonder what else could be keeping this dude from signing on the dotted line and getting his ass to Pittsburgh, learning the playbook and developing relationships and chemistries with the guys. So we'll see how that goes. Back to the comments. My brother's in the hospital now. Just left there to drop his charger off for his phone. I'm sorry to hear that, Flocka. I hope everything's going all right with your brother. Hope whatever's going on with him. Hope he's in better health, or at least improving. So hope he gets out soon. Thoughts and prayers. My thoughts and prayers go to you there, Flocko. Real quick before we get into the last bit of the show, which is just random news stories that we'll go through and not get too attached to. Update on the Pittsburgh Penguins coaching search. We got a bit of news on that over the weekend. First, coming from, let me find it here. Where did I have it? Right here. First things first. Elliot Friedman, top NHL insider. Over the weekend, he mentioned that the Washington Capitals assistant coach, Mitch Love, who I believe on prior live streams of mine, I said was the odds-on favorite to land the Penguins head coaching gig. He has an interview with the Pens this week. Have no idea whether that was, well, I wouldn't think that it was yesterday on Memorial Day, but I don't know whether that was today or whether it's going to be some other day this week, but he will be in Pittsburgh. Friedman mentioned, like what the betting odds show that he is the most likely candidate for the job. Kevin Weeks, he doubled down on this today, 7 hours ago. He said that Mitch Love is the favorite for the Penguins job as well. So, I'd have to say I give it, more than a more than 50% chance, maybe more up around the 75-80% chance that Mitch Love is going to be announced as the Penguins head coach here in the next 2 weeks, when you got two insiders, two of the arguably the top insiders in hockey, in Kevin Weeks and Elliot Friedman, saying that says a lot. So hopefully we get some news soon on that. I will go live the moment that a hiring is made for the Pens head coaching gig, but not entirely guaranteed yet. Dan Kingerski, who's more of a local reporter for the Penguins, he said that the Pens also have interest in another member of the Capitals organization for the head coaching gig, bringing up that some people he's talked to, some things he's heard. Todd Nelson is also in consideration for the job. Nelson, the head coach of the Hershey Bears, the AHL team of the Capitals. Either way, whether it's Mitch Love or Nelson, I'd be cool with the hire, because the Penguins, the current state that they are in right now, they moved on from Mike Sullivan, a coach that they won a lot with, kind of like how the Capitals years ago moved on from Barry Trotz. And the Capitals, they brought in one of the up-and-coming coaches in the league who was going to, work with, let the veterans do their thing, but develop the younger talent coming up in their system. And they hired Spencer Carberry, and he was one of the best coaches in the NHL this year. So if the Penguins, if they poach one of the coaches off the Capital staff, a younger guy who knows how to work with young players coming up from the AHL and more, I'm cool with it. Also, Elliot Friedman said that the Seattle Kraken, who fired former Penguins head coach Dan Bylsma a couple months ago, Friedman mentioned that David Quinn, current assistant coach for the Penguins, he and Lane Lambert, who I believe is the assistant coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs, those two are finalists for the Kraken head coaching gig. So if David Quinn gets hired to Seattle, you will be looking at a complete and totally new coaching crew behind the bench for the Penguins, and you might see that regardless. I mean, if Mitch Love or Todd Nelson gets hired, they will bring in their guys, and who knows if Quinn will even survive to that point. So that is your update on the Penguins coaching search. Like I said at the beginning of the show, Kyle Dubas, Penguins general manager, said after Mike Sullivan departed that the Pens were going to do a long, thorough search for their next head coach. They want to make the right hire, and that a decision wasn't going to be made until at least June. And June is right around the corner, so we'll see if anything comes down the pipe. Going to do another quick stroll here through the Twitter timeline, see if anything new has come up. See here, DeAndre Hopkins, first picture of him in a Ravens uniform. Not too worried about that, honestly. The Ravens have hilariously become a stereotype of an organization, kind of like the Tennessee Titans as well, of an organization where once great wide receivers go to wrap up their careers and fade off. You saw it with Deshaun Jackson and OBJ. Now DeAndre Hopkins. It appears that you're next up on that list. Looking here, seeing my first picture of all three Steelers quarterbacks throwing today. Will Howard, taller than Mason Rudolph, and we thought Rudolph was tall. God, I hope Will Howard works out. I know it's a long shot, 6th round pick. You know, only one 6th round pick has been a phenomenal starter in the NFL, and we all know who that is. The greatest quarterback of all time, but I hope Howard can maybe be that guy. He's got the demeanor, the body, the work ethic to do so. Only time will tell. All right, so let me go back here to my thing here. Let's talk about some of the random news stories here, wrapping up the show for this evening. Thank you all for joining me, by the way. 6 of you in here right now. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, feel free to drop a like and share this stream and comment in the live section, just like Flacco and Freight Train have been notorious for on this channel. So appreciate all of you joining me here tonight. Excuse me. Actually, before I start the final segment, let me get a drink real quick. Kind of weird doing this tonight and not being, rushing myself through it. The Bucs aren't coming on in 3 minutes, 6:40 start times like what they do at home out on the West Coast. Buys me some time here tonight, 9:40 first pitch for game 2 of their series with the Snakes. Back to talking about some football here. We'll start with football, hit on some hockey. Oh, I don't think I have any extra hockey stories, and then we'll talk about baseball. But Adam Schefter today on ESPN said, quote, "I would say the Steelers are willing to wait until September 7th. That is the date of the Steelers' Week 1 game versus the New York Jets before being out on Aaron Rodgers." So Adam Schefter, he still seems to think that the Steelers are applying no pressure on Aaron Rodgers to sign by a certain date, and that they will wait for him all the way up until the beginning of the season to sign him. And I don't get that. I think the very first mandatory thing that the Steelers players need to show up for, I think that is when you need to hear from Aaron Rodgers. If not, you need to move on, whether it's trading for Kirk Cousins, trading for another quarterback, signing a quarterback. I don't care. But that seems to be the feeling there from what Adam Schefter is hearing. Also, it is 100 days until the season opener. Yeah, time's a ticking here for the Steelers, whether they like it or not, on Aaron Rodgers. There was a new Steelers player in the facility today. This morning, the Steelers signed undrafted free agent wide receiver, one of the best names I've ever heard, Montana Lemonious Craig, to the 90-man roster. Lemonious Craig, a 6'1", 194-pound wide receiver who spent the past 2 seasons playing for Arizona. I think he was, second, third, hell, who knows, even maybe fourth fiddle to Tet McMillan, a first-round pick out there at Arizona. And the past 2 seasons, 45 catches for 468 yards and 4 touchdowns. Prior to that, he was at Colorado. I believe that might have been either at the beginning or before the regime of Deion Sanders and company there. At Colorado, 34 passes for just under 500 yards again and 5 touchdowns. So not great, not bad, but, average to below average production in college. Hopefully he'll be a diamond in the rough for the Steelers. Will most likely just be a camp body, but hilariously enough, the Steelers, they gave him a number 14. So the George Pickens vacant number 14 did not remain empty for long, and they gave it to an undrafted free agent. So that is the ultimate kick to the pants on George Pickens as he made his way on out the door. You thought that this number was special to you? We give it to an undrafted free agent. That is hilarious. Montana Lemonious Craig, again, fantastic name. He wasn't the only new guy in the Steelers facility today. The Steelers also had a new coach, at least for OTAs, in the building. Derek Mason, who is an assistant defensive backs coach at Johns Hopkins University. He was there for the first day of Steelers OTAs. He actually tweeted the photo that I used in the middle of my thumbnail for today's live stream. So he was there. Not sure why he was there. Maybe he, wanted to get a feel for the NFL and what NFL practices are like for being a guy entering into the league. Maybe he's, got a job lined up once he's done at Johns Hopkins University, but who knows? Gonna think of nothing of that for now, but who knows? Maybe we'll see something down the line. Last thing on football here, I actually wanted to mention this in the Kirk Cousins segment, talking about him possibly being an option for the Steelers. I wanted to say, nothing's imminent. And Brooke Pryor, Steelers beat reporter for ESPN, she says the same thing. She was on 93.7 The Fan a couple hours ago. She said, quote, "I don't see Kirk Cousins as very high on the Steelers list of quarterback options." So I think the Steelers feel that same way, which wouldn't be surprising. Arthur Smith, his offensive scheme, he likes to have quarterbacks under center. He likes play action. Both of those things Kirk Cousins either is not comfortable with or didn't do much last year coming off an Achilles injury. So that might scratch him off the list almost immediately. No extra hockey news here today, but extra baseball news. This right here is crazy to me. So the Pirates, they just came out with a promotion for next month, the 22nd, June 22nd, a 1:35 game. I believe that is a weekend game at home against the Texas Rangers. The promotion that day, a Paul Skeens Superman bobblehead. It is Skeens in his Pirates uniform, but he's like holding his buttoned up jersey apart, and it has the Superman logo. that right there, I'm like, that'd be a cool souvenir to have if, maybe I were to attend the game. But get this. It says in asterisks right below the wording there, special ticket required. So the Pirates are now forcing their fans who are fed up and pissed off with the organization and the owner, and the Pirates already having attendance issues as is when you're only getting, 10,000 people, 20 if Skeens is pitching and you have like fireworks nights. You're having attendance issues already, and the Pirates now, for a Paul Skeens bobblehead, are going to force fans to buy special tickets to get this promotion. Are you kidding me? That is asinine. We suck. I, Bob Nutting, am going to do Jack, you know what, to put a competitive team on the field and supply the money to do so. And I have done nothing to earn the fans' trust and to get them to want to come to my games. But guess what? I'm going to force you to pay extra to get a bobblehead. Absolutely crazy. And I just hope that, I don't know if that's something that other organizations and teams around the league do. I've never heard of a special ticket needed to be acquired to get a bobblehead or a promotion whatsoever. Please don't let that become a regular thing. That'd be absolutely insane if it does. So, interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on that. I need that bobblehead. That's going to resell. Yeah. Honestly, that might resell for, more than what you would normally get. Like, I got these. I sure as hell don't want to go to a Pirate game right now, but I got these glasses, resell. But that, I can only imagine what is going to happen with that. I think I got a Skeens bobblehead. No, I got a Skeens bobblehead. It's right here, but not sure if you can make it out. But right there, where the tip of my finger is, it's kind of in the dark right now. That Andrew McCutchen City Connect bobblehead I got last year at a game. I know that was, highly sought after and very valuable on the resale market, but I doubt it that will cost as much for one of those Skeens Superman bobbleheads. That's crazy though, that I'm already going to be forced, if I buy a ticket, to go watch a crappy product, but you gotta force me to pay extra to get a bobblehead. Hell, that's all half the people go to these games anymore for. It's either to watch Paul Skeens or get whatever promotions going on that day. So just thought that was interesting there. Let's look on the bright side though for the Bucs. Connor Griffin, not doing anything for the major league club yet, but my God, does that kid look special down in Single A for the Bucs so far. This his year so far down in Single A with the Florida State League there. He is first in the league in hits with 28, second in the league in batting average with a 350 batting average, third in total bases with 41, and he is 10th in the Florida State League in slugging and OPS with a 513 slug percentage and an OPS of 882. That kid, I'm not sure if I came up with this on my own volition or if I heard someone mention it. He could be, Mike Trout 2.0. So I hope that out of the very, very few and far between bats that Ben Cherington has acquired over his tenure as Pirates general manager, I hope that one is at least a very, very good one. Kid, 18 years old, might have turned 19 by now. He's also an absolute unit. So I would fast track this kid to the MLB. If he's doing this down there at 19 years old, I put him in Double A right now. And honestly, I live closer to Altoona than I do Pittsburgh. I go watch an Altoona Curve game if he's playing rather than the major league club right now. So just wanted to give that update there on Connor Griffin. Oh, also another update, Bubba Chandler, who for some odd reason is not yet in the major leagues. I believe his last start, he threw a no-hitter into the 7th inning before getting pulled. So, yeah, things going well for the 2 top prospects in the Bucs organization, at least. So that's a bright side. Moving back into the dark side of Pirates baseball. I just saw this 2 hours ago. Inside the Edge, a Twitter account they posted a graph of cash-in rate in 2025, meaning teams hitting with runners in scoring positions, how well teams are doing. Like, for example, the best team so far this year in terms of cash-in rate, 38.6% is the Chicago Cubs. I'll give you a guess as to where the Pirates are in cash-in rate this year, meaning how well they're hitting with runners in scoring position. Got your answer? Shouldn't have taken you very long. 21.9% cash-in rate. I will give them a benefit of the doubt. We'll call it an even 22. So 22%, that is dead last in the major leagues for cash-in rate. So they're hitting with runners in scoring position, and just run production in general is absolutely hilarious. And they are in the bottom of the league by a whole 3% points at least, because second to last on that list is the on pace to be historically bad Colorado Rockies, and they are at 25.2% right now. So the Bucs, their offense is even worse than the worst team in baseball right now in the Rockies. A historically bad team in the Rockies. And got to make you wonder, if you didn't have Paul Skeens and you didn't have a great starting rotation that's been great over the past month, how deep below 50 tons of whale crap they would be. So that's it there. Let me go to the comments real quick before I wrap this up. Freight Train again. In hope he pitches against DeGrom. I did a job windshield for him at his winter house in Beach Mountain, North Carolina. Cool dude. Yeah, Jacob DeGrom. I've heard he is a cool dude. Bobblehead night. Yeah. I hope that'd be cool to see DeGrom and Skeens, 2 guys who have been compared to, like you've seen Skeens compared to pretty much every great pitcher with great velocity over the past decade and a half. DeGrom, Strasburg, Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, I'm sure. You've heard all that. So I'd be absolutely ecstatic if you got a Paul Skeens versus Jake DeGrom matchup. It's just a matter, I think, not so much for Skeens. I mean, it's, luck of the calendar that he'll pitch on the night of his bobblehead, but on the day of his bobblehead. But for DeGrom, I know he's had health issues over the recent years. Hopefully he can stay healthy to that point another month here, and we maybe have the hopes of getting that matchup. I have the Big Ben bobblehead with the Steelers snow hat. That's a cool one. DeGrom tipped me $125, broke my previous $100 record. Well, I mean, hey, for a guy who's made gracious enough that he gives you a tip, I mean, hell, I would be happy for, a $5 tip. But, yeah, that's a hell of a tip there from DeGrom. Finally live. Dead ass last. Yeah, welcome back live here, Freight Train. That's cool, though. Doing that for DeGrom. I do windshields as well. There you go. I guess I'm about screw it. I'll throw my hat in the ring. I guess I do windshields as well. I used to detail cars as a kid, so there. We're all a bunch of windshield washers in this live stream right now. Same thing for my father. We're all windshield washers here. All right. Let me do one last stroll here through Twitter to see if there is anything here. Which I don't think I'm going to see anything, but still, I'll take one last look here through the hell of it, and then I'll wrap things up. I got a couple more things, loose stories that don't want to talk about, but unfortunately, I do. Not seeing that, so we're gonna get into it now. Don't mean to end today's live stream after a long weekend on, sour, sad notes, but fortunately, that's a part of life where stuff like this is going to happen. First and foremost, I know this technically isn't a Pittsburgh sports team. It's not even the Pittsburgh college team, but it's still this neck of the woods, Pennsylvania news. Thoughts and prayers right now go out to Penn State, former Penn State now, wide receiver Julian Fleming. He was eligible for the draft this year. I believe he did declare for the draft. He did not get drafted. I don't think, and I'm not even sure if he, signed with a team as an undrafted free agent, but prayers to Penn State Nittany Lion wide receiver Julian Fleming. He was involved in a fatal ATV accident 2 days ago. He and his girlfriend riding an ATV, they hit a deer. She unfortunately passed away, and Fleming in critical condition in the hospital. So prayers to Julian Fleming that he can make a full recovery. Also, 2 deaths to talk about, unfortunately. Greg Brown, I believe he's the first who I saw who broke this news yesterday. Thoughts and prayers go out to the Sauer family. Mark Sauer, former president and CEO of the Pirates from 1991 to 1996, passed away. Greg Brown posting in his tweet, grateful to him for hiring him and Bob Walk, saying that Mark was a good man, tough as nails, but a good man. So RIP to former Bucs president and CEO Mark Sauer. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly there. And the final unfortunate death I have to talk about today. This one's hits a little personal for me. I loved the show Duck Dynasty, but rest in peace to Phil Robertson, who, if you don't know Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty, the show that I love and watched, he was the starting quarterback at Louisiana State or Tech. I believe, Louisiana Tech. He was the starting quarterback over one of the best players in Steelers franchise history, Terry Bradshaw. I'm sure Terry Bradshaw, he is feeling very sad about the loss of Phil Robertson, but rest in peace to Phil Robertson. Rest in peace to Mark Sauer. Rest in peace to the girlfriend of Julian Fleming, and hopefully Julian Fleming can pull through here after that ATV accident. And even though it was yesterday, I want to say thank you and rest in peace to all of those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Memorial Day was yesterday, but Memorial Day is every single day, and we never forget it here in the United States. Goes to that saying, all gave some, but some gave all. And we cannot forget that we live in the land of the free because of the brave. So, yeah. Hopefully all of you had a great Memorial Day. Rest in peace to everyone who I just talked about. Back to the comments section real quick. Yeah, it's Freight Train and you guys talking about love how the comment section has turned into talking about windshield washers and what everybody's done. So glad you guys got that going there, Freight Train and Flacco. Just work talk, LOL. Yeah, I see that. So yeah, don't mean to end today's show on a sour note, but rest in peace to those folks, players. Prayers for Julian Fleming, and late but happy Memorial Day to everyone, and thank you to all of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for the country that we call home. So, Freight Train, Flacco, love seeing the chit chat you guys are doing about your works. Hopefully, you guys have some way to get into contact with each other. But I'm going to wrap things up here tonight. Officially, right there, up in the corner there, we just completely crossed the hour and a half mark for today's live stream. I thank you. So hope you all join me back here tomorrow. Actually, I do want to say that. Glad I remembered that. There will not be a live show like this tomorrow. Instead, 3:40 tomorrow, Bucs will play the third and final game of their series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. I will be available to live stream that game, and I will. So instead of waiting till 7, 8 o'clock at night when that game may eventually wrap up, I will be live for the Pirates Diamondbacks game tomorrow. That game starts at 3:40, so I'll probably go live around 3:30, something like that, couple minutes prior, and we will chit chat throughout the ball game tomorrow. Any other news stories that come up within the next 24 hours. So, yeah, Freight Train, thank you very much. I'll be setting an alarm for that. Appreciate you. Are you a safety quality show now? Actually, yeah, right next to my dad's work. Yet there's a safe light building, so he works on windshields and car safety stuff as well. So we're all one of the same here. Small world. All of us working on cars here. Hilarious. But yeah, so with that, hope you all join me back here tomorrow, 3:40, about 3:30-ish. I'll probably go live. I will be live, do play-by-play, and react to the Pirates' final game of the series against the Diamondbacks. That should be a Paul Skeens day as well. So that'll even be more motivation for me to go live for that game. So join me back here tomorrow. And like I said, any stories that come up for either tonight or throughout the day tomorrow, we'll talk about it then. So no live stream tomorrow like this. Instead, I'll be live at 3:40 for the Bucs game. With that, thank you all for joining me here tonight. Appreciate you, Flacco and Freight Train, in the comments section. Last time, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. At some point tonight, I will make the live stream for tomorrow's Bucs and Snakes game. If you go to my channel, that should be up there at some point tonight, and you can click notify me. There'll be a button for you there to hit, and you will get notified when that live stream goes live. So with that, thank you all for joining me here tonight. So crazy we all meet because I couldn't find a live feed for opening day in Mexico. Yeah, crazy. Glad you did, Freight Train. You've been one of the most loyal viewers of mine. You, Flacco, some others too, Chad Schrader, some others who I apologize if you're watching this. I forget your name. Apologize. But yeah, thank you all for joining me, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. So with that, signing off for the night. Thank you all, and see you tomorrow for Bucs and Snakes. Till then, let's go Bucs tonight. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. Peace out.